take your identity out of this culture, take your identity out of this world system, and identify with who you really are. Is it my achievements? Is it my possessions? Or is it just who God created me to be? There's the freedom.
Ooh.
There's the freedom.
So Dr. Restrepo, you clearly are successful, you are intentional, oh my God, things that I'm coming to know about you. Mm-hmm. When you're not the mentor, when you are not the advocate for just people to be their greater selves, who are you really? Like, with all of your accomplishments, the many accomplishments that you have, who are you?
That's such a good question, because that took some time for me to discover who I really am. And now I know that I am the daughter of the Most High, that I am an individualized expression of I am, that I am powerful, and I am supernatural by nature. But I didn't always know that. I think just like everyone else, I thought I was what I accomplished. I thought I was my race. I thought I was the color of my skin. I thought I was just female. And not to say that I'm not those things. I have those things. Those things don't define who I am, because again, I'm an individualized spirit, an expression of God himself. So that's so much greater than my natural attributes. But so many of us believe, and we're taught culturally from our families, that we are where we come from, where we grew up. You know, I'm a New Yorker, I'm a descendant of West Indians, and all of that is a part of my story. But to the core of who I am, you take away all of that, who I am is the essence of God, individualized. And it took time for me to really get into relationship with him to understand that I am of him and that I'm like him. And so that's who I am at the very core of I am. And that's what powers me. That's what pushes me. That's what helps me to accomplish the things that I accomplish. But those accomplishments are not what defines me.
So when did you in your life, or what happened to make you come to this point where before, with all the accomplishments, all the great things you've done, and I'm very familiar with those things just in my research, but where you are now? Like, what was that moment that you said, there's more to life than just the accomplishments, mentorship?
Because the accomplishments didn't give me life. You know, at what we tend to understand, what we don't understand about life is not the things. Life is the joy. Life is the peace. Life is the contentment with who I am, right? And so I realized that, you know, I had to really begin to learn life. God is life. The word said God is life. I had to learn what life was again, right? Because we're told what life is through culture, but ultimately God is life. So I had to begin to really seek life so that I could live life, if that makes sense. And I got there because I realized I'm trying to run after life and, you know, have these things that I desire. And it just kept escaping me. No matter how much I gained, no matter how much I won or achieved the promotion or achieved the goal, I still did not have the peace. I didn't have the joy. I didn't have the emotional well-being. So I still was not experiencing life. So I realized, well, clearly my definition of life was not the correct definition. That's why when they say now, they like, life be life. And I'm thinking, that ain't really what you experiencing is not life, not life and life more abundant. God has already described what life really is. What we're experiencing is the outcomes of our decisions and the things that we define as life. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, when I started realizing like, okay, all these things that I've been pursuing and I want and I'm trying to gain, and some of those things I'm gaining are not producing for me that well-being and that joy and that peace and that contentment that I wanted, I was like, okay, well, clearly this is not, this is not the way. I need to really seek what life really is. And it was in me really drawing nearer to who life is that made me understand what life is really about.
Oh, that's so powerful. So all those things, all those accomplishments, all those successes, all those certifications, and you still did not have joy and peace and fulfillment. But the world teaches us that we do have those things. And then I think a lot of people are really struggling for that, with that, because you become successful, you have all the cars, the homes, the fashions, the red bottoms, but then you're like, why am I not feeling joyful and fulfilled?
Yeah.
And that is very interesting because I think a lot of people are in that place. So when they feel like they're in that place, what is the next step for them?
Yeah. I think the best thing that we can do is to pause. Is to pause and to sit with ourselves, which is not something, I mean, we're in a culture that really celebrates busyness. You know, that's the new strategy of avoidance, honestly, because we want to avoid what we really want to deal with, which is who we are inside, and what is really going on within us is what we need to address. But the busyness makes us feel like, oh, we doing things and I'm moving, I got things going, so I'm doing something, I'm productive. When a lot of our business is not productive either. And so the only thing to really stop that cycle, because it's almost like you on this treadmill.
I just said that.
And you like, if someone hit the button for me, because I can't stop this thing. You have to hit the button and stop and pause and sit with yourself and really begin to allow what you're trying to avoid to come up and speak.
Okay, so I know this is gonna sound real basic. What do you do when you sit in the quiet and you pause?
Listen.
Listen to who?
To your inner voice.
But most of us don't even know
But you're never gonna know unless you sit and be still. It says, be still and know. So the knowing who your inner voice is and your real self is, it's the voice of God within you. The word of God says in Genesis chapter 2, it said, and after God created these things, he created man, and he said he breathed in him the breath of life, and man became a living being, a living soul. So the very breath that you breathe is the essence of who God is. He is presently living on the inside of us. And a lot of times we don't know his voice because we haven't practiced listening for it, right? And it sounds like yours because it is him, right? It is him. So this is the key. The key is that we really have to be quiet and learn that voice.
So we're sitting, is there a certain, like, I know this sounds crazy, but when we sit, do we say, I'm gonna sit an hour or 2 hours, or I'm just not gonna be doing a lot of stuff?
So that's a good one because, religion makes us think we got to do it for an hour. We think about the time, right? Just like what came up to you, right? The time.
That's true.
It's not about the time. It's about the consistency. So if you have never sat still in meditation to hear and to sit with yourself, you're not going to sit for the hour. Right? Your mind is racing. You like, okay, you checking
to the laundry.
Yeah. Can I just be still for a moment? We have a moment of silence. Can I just be still for 1 minute? Can I open my eyes in the morning and for 1 minute not reach for my phone, not check an email?
Girl, you're in my house now.
Can I do that for 1 minute? For the first minute that I open my eyes, can I just remain there and be still? And quiet, and let him speak to me, and let what God has to say. And what happens is, once you start doing that and you start having those spiritual encounters, honey, ain't nothing. You talk about an hour, you have to force yourself out. By the time you get to an hour of spending time like that, you got to force yourself out of that place.
So how did it start for you? Like, was it like a minute? Was it like two? Like how did I'm getting my little.
It did start for hours for me, but it started at a time when I had lost. I was in transition. I was in transition from a job, and I had stepped off my job into what I thought at the time was going to be a business that I had in my heart. And so I was in transition from one to the next. So I had the time to really spend like that, right?
Gotcha.
And so in that time, and I could tell you, I would get my daughter off to school and I'd come back in the house and I'd immediately start my time of being quiet and getting into
So it's like you were looking forward to it.
Hours later, I'm
wow.
Oh, shoot, she
Are
getting
you
ready to come
serious?
home. Yes, I was so hungry. It was like you know, when the scripture says it's like a deer panteth after water, I was so thirsty in my spirit for the things of God. I was drinking like was coming from the hydrant. Like, just give me more, give me more, give me more. And it was really, my soul was being refreshed during that season. And so for me, I had that opportunity, but for many of us, that's not necessarily an opportunity, right? That we have, like, we have other responsibilities that we have to do, so we can't be sitting there for hours. But my thing is, don't let what time you don't have be an excuse for not making the time you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I find that we do have the time. We just don't know how to schedule our time. I think like that's, to me personally, I think people need to teach scheduling in college, in high school, because then just going to bed a little earlier, getting up a little earlier, and it is something about the morning in particular.
Everything.
It is everything.
It really is.
And when I started talking to you about this, I said, wow, this is really a blessing, because you do have the time. You just need to prioritize it. And so when I wasn't working with you, I didn't really know that. But now it's like you want more. You're like, dang, my 20 minutes is up, or my 30 minutes is up. And then you're getting, even if you're just being still and getting refreshed and getting restored.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because the world is just constantly at you. And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't know how to work with you and you hadn't set me straight.
The beauty of that, and I tell my clients all the time, is that when we think we don't have time, we constantly lose time, because you're going to reproduce what you believe, right? So you're losing time because you believe you don't have time. But when you set your time and schedule, and you put first things first, that's why I love the word. It says what? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things will be added unto you. When I give him the priority of my time, when I give myself the priority of my time, how about that? When I give myself, my well-being, the priority of my time, I spend that time with him, the time that I think I'm losing, I gain. Because now I am clearer, I have more focus, I have more direction, and I can be productive.
Wow.
A lot of us is trying to produce and be productive out of an empty place. You can't even be creative. You have nothing. And so what happens is you just turning your wheels, thinking you're busy, thinking you're accomplishing something, and you're really not. But when you set the priority of your time and you say, yes, I definitely have time for me, my well-being, and my time with God, that's priority. Then he what? Adds all things unto you. He redeems that time, and you actually are more productive with what's left than you would have been if you didn't take that time.
But that's spiritual.
Absolutely.
But most people don't. That's the problem. When you started telling me that, I was like, that's spiritual.
Yes, but that's the thing, Tawana. That's what I'm saying. When I peel back everything from my life, I am spiritual first and foremost.
Mic drop.
That's the issue. We're being physical too much. And physical is just given to us to accomplish our spiritual assignment. So if I'm spiritually depleted, I'm spiritually unaware, what could I possibly be accomplishing? That's for good. For good for me, my family, or anybody else.
Here's a question I think a lot of people might want to know, but they are scared to ask. Because sometimes we say we want to know, but deep down we really don't.
Yep, that's true.
What if I strip away everything? I do all the work, and I really don't like the person that's there. Or I don't even know who's there.
Well,
what do you do? And what does that look like?
So one, I don't think you will. I don't think that we can strip away all of what life has defined or said we are, all the things that we've said we are. I think if you really remove those things and you get down to the essence of who you truly are, you will love yourself. Okay. I think there is a fear of that, because we think still that a lot of the attributes and the character and the things that we define as self now, we don't realize that's not really genuinely, authentically who God called us to be. That's what life has created. That's what life has told me. So for instance, I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm a little hard and all these things we say. Well, why are you rough around the edges? Why are you hard? Why are those walls up? What has happened? What has hurt you to make you that way? And now you've owned that as your identity. You get what I'm saying? So I think what we have to realize is that when you really take time to strip those things away, the false identity that life and experiences have put there, and you take away that, the gem that you would find, you should not be afraid of. You should run to, because that is the empowerment that will change the trajectory of your life moving forward. That's when you've come into who you really are, and then you can live the life you've really been given. Because right now, many of us are living a performance-based life, it's almost like we're playing a role.
I was thinking of a character.
A character, that's the word. Yeah, we're playing something that we've never been created to be. So when you come into your authentic self, that freedom is nothing to run from. It's nothing to be afraid of. And fear, we know where fear comes from, right? The word of God already told us we have not been given a spirit of fear. So the fact that fear shows up and hinders us from being willing to strip back what life has created tells you that's the very thing you need to be doing. Right? That's the very thing that's going to set you free. That's the very thing that's going to bring into your life the desires that you really have. And so it's not really something to be afraid of. It's something to run toward so that you can actually live the life you've been created to live, because your representative can't live your life.
When I hear that, I think about a lot of kids, a lot of high schoolers, a lot of college students who are just inundated with social media.
And grown folks.
And no.
You ain't on social media?
I am, but I
You don't see them folks? They be grown.
I just cannot. I'm a different person when it comes. I'm like, grown people don't need to have their butt on social media all the time. But
grown folks.
I know, and they're living their whole life based on somebody else's life, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, how is that not taught by the parent? Are we not, like, if you don't know who you are and then you have kids, they don't know who they are.
Pretty much. That is one of the things I used to thank God about the most is that I came into truth at a time when my kids were still young enough for me to be able to teach them. I was so grateful for that, because I was a product of my parents not knowing, right? Loved me to pieces, did everything they could do. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm so grateful to both my parents, but they did not know truth. They did not understand spiritual truth. So how are you going to teach something you don't even know, right? You can't. So when God began to do that with me at a young enough age that my children were young, that I could begin to instill that in them, that was something I was extremely grateful for, because I could make a difference. I could make a difference in it, in their lives. And so, yeah, you can only beget what you are. Right. So that's why, even to me, that's very important. And some of these young people and the social media stuff and all of that happens because, again, we are looking at somebody else's representation of themselves, not even who they are. And then we are comparing ourselves to their representation. Right? And even their representation sometimes is a true act. And some of that, none of that is, nowadays, we don't even know if we're looking at the person. How about that part?
Now with AI, right,
okay.
right,
They could be told nothing, just their image, just their face.
That is so true.
So, we are comparing those things. And the thing is, we are all uniquely made and designed to be unique expression of God. God did not duplicate himself, not even in twins. So why am I trying to look or be like anyone else? I'm going to tell you why. Because you haven't understood how powerful you are yet.
That's so good. I always think about that because, and let me know if I'm off script here, but when you see people who have real money. I know that's right. Okay.
That whole thing. Like on script.
I mean, like deviating a little bit.
Okay.
Let me know if I'm deviating a little bit. But I think about people who are truly wealthy. like real wealth. When you see them, they look just what we would call regular folks, right? They may have t-shirt, jeans. If they're dressing up, they have a sport jacket.
That's a good.
Regular shoes, you know what I'm saying? But then they have the money, like super wealthy.
Yeah.
And then the other people who don't have the money are all like red bottoms, mortgage is 3-4 months behind. Everything is just straight superficial flossing. And that's why I had a conversation with my mother. I said, I don't judge people by what I think they have, the perception of what they have. Because so many people project that. And I think in many communities, that is a form of success. Is that not an indication that deep down inside, they're trying to overcompensate and project something that they know they really don't have?
Well, it goes right back to the beginning of our conversation. We are taught that we are our accomplishments and what we have. So their identity, it goes right back to it. Their identity is in those things. They have to do those things because in their mind, if they don't have these things and look this way, then they're not worthy. They're not enough. They don't measure up.
Instead of just going to the Costco with their jeans and white shirts on and being happy and peaceful and smiling and being enjoying.
Because now you're talking about an individual whose possessions don't define them. I don't need you to know what I have because I'm good with me. If you don't like me like this, then you don't like me. Right. Otherwise, you're liking me for what you think I have and what you see, opposed to who I am. So it comes right back to what is defining you. What defines you? That's what it comes back to. What defines you? Is it my achievements? Is it my possessions? Or is it just who God created me to be? That's my definition.
I think about it in so many scenarios, though. In relationships,
yeah.
Like you think someone is one when
anything
you meet
outside
them
of you. Anything outside of you.
Anything outside of you.
Yes. Should not be what's defining you. Your definition comes from who created you. Right?
So if you're, but that's untangling every aspect of our whole existence then.
Yeah.
Because we're meeting people thinking they're a certain way.
You can't even have a conversation with because they're so rooted in their naturalness being who they are that they feel like you're denying who you are to say that I'm not the color of my skin. I'm not the sex that I am. If I say that to them, now I'm denying who I am. No, I know who I am. I know that I am a spirit. I have a soul and I live in this body. Are you your car? When you're in your car driving it, are you the car?
No.
No.
So I'm not the color either.
So I'm not the body. The body is a vehicle. It's a vehicle. But we put too much stock in that. And so because it's a vehicle, that's why we should take care of it like you take care of your car. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I understand.
So we have to begin to understand, like, I'm not saying that I'm not a African-American woman in my body, but it doesn't define who I am. Because let me tell you something. When I only am an African-American woman, then everything that the world system says I can't have, I can't be, I can't do, that relates to me. That don't relate to me.
That's so powerful. So you take that on and function in that space instead of functioning in the space that you are God's. Oh my God.
Hello.
And that makes you unstoppable.
Period.
And so my color doesn't matter. Boo.
That's what I'm trying to say. I want us to be free from that.
Yes.
Because it holds us in a place and we're making excuses for why we can't come above that and be greater than that when we already are.
That is so
And this is the thing. Look what we have accomplished and what we've done in that mentality. So what would happen if I stop identifying with that as my identity and identifying with the power of the spirit that God has created me to be? What would happen then?
It would be that is so powerful.
So that is why I do not take on that as my identity, because that identity tells me I'm not enough. I'm not this. I can't accomplish that. Oh, they gonna keep me out of it. Nobody can keep me out of nothing God has for me.
I know that's true.
And so I am not moved by things on the outside. I'm not moved by this world system because I live above it. And this is what I want people to understand. Take your identity out of this culture. Take your identity out of this world system and identify with who you really are.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful.
You'll still achieve things.
Even more.
Take yours right now.
Because it's not on you.
No.
It's in you.
There's the freedom.
Ooh.
There's the freedom.
Girl.
There's the freedom.
And I see this stuff all the time. Like when you're on YouTube, you know, like they trying to hold us back. And I'm like,
ain't nobody holding me back.
Ain't nobody holding me back.
If you subscribe to that, yeah.
That's when it'll happen.
But then whose power is that? It's not them. That's you allowing them to use your own power against you. Oh, not on my watch.
Because then you gotta think, I must be powerful that somebody is trying to keep me from my power.
Absolutely. 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 And that's why you have to come to the awakening and stop looking for other people outside to accept you, to give you your due. Give yourself your due. Know who you are. Walk powerfully in who God has called and created you to do. And at this, I can tell you, those other things will have to come in alignment because they can only exist and be in operation because we've allowed it. When we stop allowing it, when we stop agreeing with it, when we withdraw our agreement to it, then we would see it go away. The Bible says, resist the devil and he will flee. Bye.
My job.
Bye.
I'm the woman you talking about.
Oh, girl.
I said, what are you talking about? I want this treadmill. Oh, it's crazy. Where do I start?
Well, what I said, start taking some time to get still. Stop being so busy. Stop being so busy. Take the time to sit still, right? And
do you help people do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And when you learn to do that and do it consistently, be willing to sit in the uncomfortability of it. Because it does get uncomfortable. Guilt shows up. I know I need to be doing this. I know I need to be doing that. I should be over there. All of those things start coming up in your mind. Learn to quiet that voice.
And how do you do it?
And do it for a short period of time and build upon that.
How do you do it if you have a spouse, a mate, or a husband, and they're not trying to do it?
I've been with my husband for over 28 years and together for over 35, 6. I done lost count. Let me tell you what never gets in the way of my well-being in my relationship. Nobody. I don't care who it is. And this is the thing. Again, we create the boundaries in our lives. We decide what's priority, right? And my relationship is well because Tony is well.
So your relationship and you doing the work, he came along because he saw the change in you.
That.
Wow.
He respects that.
And has it impacted him at all?
I'm sure it does. But that is not my focus. Truthfully, because some people, they so worried about what somebody else doing, they ain't doing what they supposed to do. That ain't never Tony. Tony ain't got no time. That's why I be like, how people in other people's business? They ain't got no business. So they got
time. Right.
I'm so focused on what God is telling me to do and how I can continue to rise to the powerful person he's called me to be. I have no time to be worrying about what you're doing, right? Like, I know. So even if it doesn't impact us, some wives, I'll be honest, sometimes they're just so caught up in what the spouse is not doing.
I see that a lot.
But our power is not in our mouths. Now, don't get me wrong. There is life and death in the power of the tongue. You need to choose wisely, but that's not what I'm talking about. You need to learn that your power is in your influence. Can you just walk the walk? Can you be the example? Because that light and that example is more powerful than your bickering and your complaining. Actually, your bickering and complaining do the opposite, right? And so I just walk my walk. I walk my walk without feeling like other people have to do what I do. without the judgment of that. You get what I'm saying? Like, you could do it if you want to, or you don't have to. That is your free will. So I do it and I allow him to see he knows who I am. And I'm pretty sure it has influenced him, for sure. You know what I'm saying? Because women are influential. Our lives impact and influence others. But what we have to understand is not in just what we're telling them to do, is how we do it.
Okay, so quick question before we wrap up. We see in certain communities that the disruption in marriages, relationships, where a lot of women are alone, a lot of women are single moms. Does that have to do with our lack of influence in how we make decisions on who we engage with, who we date, who we marry?
Girl, you just took this to a whole nother session. Like, are you serious?
Because I was watching this on YouTube.
It's so deep. And I don't even know where to start with that.
Just give me three things.
Honestly, it's individualized. It's not, you can't blanket that. Like, why is this happening? Because there's so many dynamics to why people are parenting, some by choice, right? Some people decide to be single parents. Some people, they didn't intend to do it that way, but they found themselves in situations that way. When you're talking about relationship, it involves more than one person, right? And so there's some dynamics there that could be the reason for why that is happening. I think that the question is, if you're in that situation, right, how do I not see myself as a victim of that situation? How do I see myself still according to who I am and not according to the experience that I've had and the outcome?
And you're not saying that in other relationships.
Is not taking in other relationships or let it hinder how you flow by yourself and in that relationship with your child.
Oh, that's sensitive.
So it can't become, everything that we experience in life cannot become our identity. And I find that in this culture, we are quick to make something we're experiencing, it becomes your identity. Like, why is that how you experience? If somebody asks you if you're a single mom, yes, I'm a single mom. But I lead with that. We lead with that. We lead with our job. We lead with our circumstances and our experiences all the time, not necessarily with our true identity.
That's so good.
And so when you think of it, the question is not that I'm a single mom, because that might be your reality, but is that your identity? Maybe that's just your assignment. Maybe God has just called you in this season to be a single mom and to show others how to do it well. Not as a victim, not as a man basher.
You just hit me in the gut without my sister.
That was for you, babe. That was for you. Be blessed.
I had to ask that because I hear this stuff about single moms all the time.
Oh, yeah. But we care about everything.
And I was thinking about this. I was like, I should start recording me and Sloan, just like in some of our day-to-day reactions, right? Because I'm a single mom by choice. I decided to be. But I think I do want to have a husband one day.
Amen. Let's go. Come on now. I agree. Let's do it.